Hi, welcome to our channel. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Hugo.
We're Sellquickshipquick, part-time resellers.
Full-time hustlers.
And today we wanted to share some tips on
starting, or how we started our Amazon FBA, specifically FBA. Journey. So these are just a couple of tips on how we started.
5 tips.
Yeah. It's, everyone starts differently, but I mean, hopefully this helps.
Well, I think the first tip, everyone kind of needs that first one.
I think with this first tip, you have to do it just to actually start selling.
Yes.
And that is?
So number 1, you want to download the Seller app, and it's the Amazon Seller app on your phone so that you can start scanning your items. And we suggest, this is how we learned, we started scanning things in our house.
Yeah. So just literally scanning any barcode you had at home just to start seeing how the app looks. And I think that, well, that goes right into, oh no, that's still part 1, sorry.
That is part 1.
Yeah.
You're gonna scan everything. And by everything, we mean everything.
If you have a carton of milk, just scan it, see what happens. So you can see what exists or doesn't exist on Amazon. We got some Lysol wipes. It has a barcode.
No, it doesn't, because this was from Costco.
Oh.
But if it had a barcode, like right here,
you scan it.
Scan it.
Food, scan it.
I think we went through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went through our pantry, we scanned candy, tea, coffee, beans.
Yeah. Media, whatever you got. And the point isn't really to find, you might find something you can actually list, but really it's to see how it looks so that you can start getting familiar. Because
the app looks very different from the eBay app or the Poshmark app or Mercari, which are the other 3 platforms that we sell on. So getting familiar with the Amazon Seller app before you go out into the wild and understanding all the little numbers and stuff that are on there will help you speed up your process when you're on the road. Yeah,
and understanding that leads us to tip number 2. So best way to start learning that is to start looking at how to take care of it, right? How to, not take care of it, how to understand the information on there. We still don't understand all the information on there. We're still learning. But tip number 2.
Seller Central for Amazon on your computer. So if you go through Amazon Seller Central, they actually provide free learning tools on there. And they're called the Seller University videos. You can, and if you're having a hard time looking for it on the Seller University or Seller Central for Amazon, you can just Google Seller University, Seller Central, Amazon, keywords. Those Seller University videos will pop up, and they pretty much go in order to teach you how to get started on FBA.
Yeah, from start all the way down. And I mean, you might still have, obviously, probably will still have questions outside of those videos, but it's a great way to start.
Yeah, so we did watch some of those videos. We haven't gone through all of them, but they do show you like how to package some of the items, how it gets processed once it gets to the actual shipment center. And then there's also free content online. So outside of Seller University, which is a really good starting tool, there's other videos out there on the interwebs that will teach you how to package safely and all that stuff.
Yeah. And then once you get through all that and you start feel a little more comfortable and you decide to go out in the wild, we get to tip number 3.
Which kind of ties to tip number 1, but you're outside.
Outside. And that goes back to understanding scan everything.
So this was something that we did not quite understand in the very beginning when we first started our FBA journey last year. And we are not great FBA sellers. We are still learning.
We're very, yeah.
But when we do go out, and when you're new, you will be restricted on a lot of items. You have to build your value within Amazon so that they ungate you or unrestrict you and allow you to sell some of the
categories and brands.
So when we would go out, it would kind of make us...
It'd be discouraging because we go out and we feel like all the cool items are restricted. And it probably will be for you too if you're starting. But
you have to scan everything. And by everything, if you're in an aisle at a store, you start on one end at the top or the bottom, and then you work your way up and to the left or the right, whichever side you're starting on. But every single item that is on the shelves, you have to scan, because you never know what you may or may not be restricted in. And that means if you are, say, restricted on a specific, I don't know, like a toy of some kind, a Disney toy. Say you're restricted on a Disney toy that you scan.
Yeah, so for example, we're restricted on most Disney items.
But not all
Disney. All Disney items. And you can say, for say you choose one princess, say Cinderella. You're probably restricting a bunch of Cinderella stuff, and then you show up and you see this one random Cinderella sticker book. Guess what? You're ungated on that one. You never know.
So we're ungated, like Mega Blocks.
Yeah.
Or Legos. Oh,
Legos.
No, we're restricted on Legos.
Yeah, Legos is a tough one. But again, it's all by just going through scanning.
Yep.
Yeah. Just so you guys can see, you'll see up next how Tiffany goes down an aisle scanning.
All right, and tip number 4 is BOLO on the BOLO. And if you don't know what BOLO means, it's be on the lookout for the beyond the lookouts.
I think we'll have a special guest explain that. What do you think? And
all right, so hey, you're wondering who I am. So my name's Orlando. I'm from Resealable Podcast. I've known Hugo and Tiffany for exactly a year when we shot this video. So they wanted to share about be on the lookout BOLOs. So why are these called BOLOs? Because they are items that are profitable. They're items that will make you money. Now, Amazon is a lot different than eBay. Okay, margins are a lot smaller. So when you do eBay, you can pick up something for $2 and you can flip it for $100. Chances of that happening on Amazon are probably nil, like 0%. Now, this plays a part when you decide what you're gonna chase in the Amazon game. So be careful, because what happens when you're brand new, you get on Instagram or on YouTube and you see people talking about BOLOs for Amazon. But what happens is you're not gonna be the only one. Remember, that's already gone to a wide audience. So what that means is there may be tens, hundreds, thousands of people trying to get that item. So when you first pick up that item, you know, you may have paid, let's say, $15 and it's selling for $30, right? And so with all the Amazon fees and everything, maybe depending on the size of the item, maybe you're gonna make $8 profit net. Okay, so your margins are super small. So then what happens, you get into a price war, which in Amazon language is called a race to the bottom, as people try to undercut each other to sell those items. And in Amazon, race to the bottom is very real. Okay, it's different than eBay, where you can list something high, wait for that best offer, and generally there isn't a race to the bottom unless it's a hot item. So what you should do is what Hugo and Tiffany have said: scan everything and find your own BOLOs. And it doesn't hurt to have an inner circle like Hugo, Tiffany, and I. We do share our Amazon BOLOs. And there's a couple other people involved in that, but that's it, right? And the circle's small, and we know that we're not going to tank each other's prices when we get on the listing. So I recommend that. And it doesn't hurt to get in a BOLO group either that you got to pay. You just got to be aware that the more people that are part of this quote-unquote Amazon inner circle, the more chances there are that that BOLO may be shared outside that circle, which will lead to another competitive price war. So my strongest recommendation is, one, is to scan everything like they said. Then you find your own BOLO and see where it ranks, and the less sellers, the better, and make sure that they have margins that you're willing to work with. If you have a lot of capital, then maybe you're okay with, hey, if I buy something for $10 net profit, if it drops down to $2 net profit, then go with it. But if you don't have a lot of capital, then you really got to be careful, and you got to search out those BOLOs that there's a lot of margin, and if there is a price war or a race to the bottom, you're able to manage it. So be on the lookout, but be on the lookout to make sure that your margins don't tank and that you end up profitable in the end with Amazon FBA.
And we are on tip number 5, which is consistency. And by that, we mean consistency.
Consistency. And I mean, and there's different areas, and consistency is important pretty all platforms and anything you really do when you want to succeed in it. But in terms of FBA, it means going and scanning often.
Yes, because the market changes, and it changes pretty quickly. So if you paid attention to tip number 4, the market goes up, it goes down. So if
there's competition.
A lot of competition in FBA. So, you know, you list things on Poshmark or eBay, and you can let it sit, and it's harder for someone to find the exact
item,
thrifted item,
exactly.
Right? Because there's not going to be multiples of those at the store, depending on the item that you're picking up or the brand. But if you're doing FBA and you're picking things up at a retail location, well, if you're picking things up at, let's say, a Target, well, Target's going to carry multiples of that one item that you're picking up, and so will all the other Targets all over the country. So anyone else that goes on Amazon, that goes to a Target, can scan that item and see that there's profit, they'll pick it up. Then you're competing with that person, and then another person. And
sometimes that list grows, or it just gets smaller. I mean, either way, it's changing. And the only way to keep up with it is if you're constantly checking in.
So we are not as great with that consistency part because we
have a billion things we do, and we don't scan often.
Yeah, so we try to make time like once a week to go in and scan. And it does deter you a little bit if you're spending hours scanning, you're not finding things that you're going to sell.
And also, I mean, as because of our schedule, we have other things we're doing, we're randomly at a market for our own things.
And then we'll scan.
And we're scanning.
I will say that as eBay Posher resellers who transitioned into FBA, it is harder to go into a retail store or go into any store to source for Amazon. For me personally, because I like thrifting, and when you thrift, almost every time you go, you're gonna find something you're gonna be able to flip. That's gonna make you, you know, 200-300% return on investment. And then I go into source for FBA and I scan something, it's gonna make money, it's a good rank and it's great, but it's gonna make me 50 to 60%. It's something that you have to swallow.
It's a different process.
Yes. So the consistency will
help you get used to that and understanding that. And also consistency in, I mean, FBA means fulfilled by Amazon, so that does mean shipments, sending out shipments. And the term used is feed the beast.
Yep. So the consistency in going out to scan, the consistency in sending in shipments, because when things go to Amazon and they are good rank and you have a hot item or even a decent item, they will sell out quickly. So your item might get to the warehouse, get scanned in, and sell out that exact same day. It is not the same as eBay or Poshmark. When you list it, it might sit for, you know, 6 days to 120 days or however long you're open to keeping it in your store.
And then also with that too is the consistency allows the system to, once you get constant shipments out, you're almost going to have new items coming live on your account because they're going to slowly come out and start becoming fulfilled, and your account's going to be very active, so it's going to help.
Yep.
Yeah. So those are our 5 tips. And on that, thank you to Orlando for our tip number 4.
Yeah. So these are just 5 tips that we have done ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff that we've used and picked up from the community. And again, this is how we're going about it. Everyone goes about it differently. And with that in mind, if you think there's any other tips that we should add, let us know in the comments. We're always open for ourselves to learn a little more.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, as always,
thank you for joining us. If you like this video and you like learning about other platforms and stuff like that,
just thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and
catch you guys later.
Yeah. Bye-bye.